So now it's time for us to go ahead and start writing our code, our main function and our other functions. Okay, our main function is going to follow almost exactly the pseudocode that we created earlier. So we will go ahead and open up our main function. Okay, first we want to set up some variables. We need a variable that will store the player's move, and then after that we need to create our empty tic-tac-toe board. So under my pseudocode, which I've turned into a comment, I will start setting up that empty tic-tac-toe board. I'll have a constant integer called num_squares, and I'll set that equal to 9 because that's the number of spaces that we determined that we needed on our board. Then I'll set up a character vector called board, which will actually represent our game board, and it will have num_squares, and we will pre-populate all 8 fields with empty. So our board will start off completely empty. That sets up our empty tic-tac-toe board. Next, we need to display the game instructions. And we're doing some abstraction here. We haven't written the function for that yet, but we'll call our function instructions. Then we will go ahead and set up some characters to represent our game pieces. Car human will be equal to what is returned from our human piece function, and car computer will be equal to whatever is returned from our opponent function, and we will send human, the character that is determined for our human piece, to that function. Car turn for the first turn will be equal to X. And this is actually where we say we determine who goes first. So let me just cut that, and I want to insert that here as a comment. My pseudocode, determine who goes first. To determine who goes first, we determine what piece the human will play, what piece the computer will play, and then we define that turn starts off equal to X, because in tic-tac-toe, X always goes first. Next, we need to display our board. And we do that by calling our function displayBoard. And we send it our vector board, which will be, remember, in our prototype, we say that it's getting the reference to board. So it will get the reference to our vector board. Okay, next, while nobody's won and it's not a tie, now this tells me that that's a loop. So while winner board is equal to no one, okay, because we don't need to do a more complicated test here, because our winner function will return X, O, tie, or no one. So as long as winner board is equal to no one, which means nobody has won and it's not a tie, we open up our loop and we get into our first if statement. If turn equals human. Nope, wrong curly brace. We need to get the humans move. So we set move, the integer that we declared as the first variable in our main function. We set move equal to our human move function, and we send it board and human. Next, we need to update the board with the humans move. Let's get that moved up there. So we need to update the board with the humans move, and we do that by calling board move equals human. So whatever integer was set in move, that will determine what element in our vector board we set to human, which is the human piece. So either X or O. Okay, that ends that part of the if statement. And I'll just go ahead and remove this otherwise, because otherwise in C++ is else. Okay? So here, we need to calculate the computer's move. So we set move equal to computer move board computer. And then we update the board with the computer's move by changing our vector board move, the element represented by the move variable, equal to computer. And that ends our else statement. Next step is to display our board. And we do that by calling the display board function. And after that, we switch turns. So we set turn equal to opponent turn. So our opponent function turn. Okay, after that, we close our while loop, and our next step is to congratulate the winner or declare a tie. So remember, this loop will run as long as it's nobody's turn yet, or as long as nobody has won, rather, sorry. So announce our winner or declare a tie. We have a function called announce winner, and we send winner board computer human. Okay, after this, we are done with our program. Our main function is completed. So we go ahead and return 0. If I can type, and close our main function. Now, it told me unmatched curly brace, so somewhere here I did not close a curly brace. I'm looking through trying to determine where, oh, I see what I did. I never opened that curly brace. So, let's see here. There we go. So now we've closed our main function, and now we can go ahead and define the rest of our functions. Okay, so we have void function, or void instructions, and I'm going to move this comment above void instructions. We'll open that. And now we want to welcome the player to the game and give them the rules. So we see out, welcome to the ultimate man-machine showdown. Tic-Tac-Toe. Where human brain is pit against silicone processor. And we tell the user that they can make your move known by entering a number 0 to 8. The number corresponds to the desired board position as illustrated. And now we'll go ahead and display what the board looks like. Six, 7, 8. And now, word of warning. Nope. Prepare yourself. The battle is about to begin. Okay, so there's our instructions. And from here, we can go ahead and go to our next function, which asks a yes or no question. And it will continue asking that until the player enters either a yes or a no. Put my comment here. So here we need to define a car variable for the response, and then we'll have a do loop sending the question and telling them to enter yes or no, and then accepting their input. And we want to do that while response is not equal to yes, and while response is not equal to no. And it should return response. this function will get used in our other functions later on down the road. Next, our next function is ask number. Okay, now here we have int ask number, string question, int high, int low. And we take out our equal 0 because we don't set our default argument here. We set it back in our prototype. So we'll define an integer variable called number. And we'll use another do loop. Cout question low high. Okay, so this will display in parentheses our low value and our high value, and then end with a prompt. So we cin number, and we want to continue this while number is greater than high, or number is greater than low. After that, we return number. And close that function. Okay, so there's our main function and our first three functions. In the next section of this, we will set up our other functions, and then keep on going from there. So stay tuned.